Good evening. Welcome to RSBN Live. I'm Matthew Alvarez as we have a special report tonight as we're going to see a homecoming from an American citizen who was sentenced to 14 years in a Russian jail. But thanks to President Trump and his great negotiating skills and being the deal maker that he is, this guy's going to be back home, and it's going to be great to see him reunited with his family and to see President Trump there at the White House. This is slated for about 10 o'clock tonight, so in just a few minutes. As you see there, that's the White House, a nice snowy night on this Tuesday, February 11th. So Marc Fogel, an American teacher, also teaching abroad, many schools across the world, including a school in Moscow. And the specifics that I can share with you is that he was arrested in August of 2021 by Russian authorities for trying to enter Russia with a little more than a half of an ounce of medical marijuana prescribed by a doctor for severe spinal cord pain. For that more than half an ounce, he, on June of 2022, was sentenced to 14 years in a Russian prison. Today, we could take a look at a statement from the National Security Advisor, Mike Waltz, who said, "Today, President Trump and his special envoy, Steve Witkoff, are able to announce that Mr. Witkoff is leaving Russian airspace with Marc Fogel, an American who was detained by Russia. President Trump, Steve Witkoff, and the president's advisors negotiated an exchange that serves as a show of good faith from the Russians and a sign we're moving in the right direction to end the brutal and terrible war in Ukraine." The second part of that, since President Trump's swearing in, he has successfully secured the release of Americans detained around the world, and President Trump will continue until all Americans being held are returned to the United States. By tonight, Marc Fogel will be on American soil and reunited with his family and loved ones thanks to President Trump. Again, that was from the National Security Advisor, Mike Waltz. So yeah, that was earlier tonight. So obviously it's about 10 minutes until 10 o'clock. So President Trump actually spoke about this in the Oval Office earlier today when Elon Musk, who was giving everybody an update on DOGE, was there as well. And President Trump said, you know, that's tonight at 10. We're going to have Marc here at the White House. So basically he invited the press impromptu flow, and now we're going to be able to see that, you know, reunification of the family, and also to see what Marc's response is to President Trump. We'll have that live here for you. This is what we hired and voted for when it comes to someone that has that kind of skill, that negotiating skill, but also he knows talent and he knows people that are good at specific jobs, right? So that's why Steve Witkoff and others involved in this freeing of an American citizen back to our country. So we're going to see that here in just a bit. We may be joined by Carla Sands as well, and possibly John Strand to give us some of their thoughts about this great situation. As we know, it's 9:50 Eastern time. Now, Marc Fogel, again, an American teacher. He also attended Indiana University of Pennsylvania. And last thing he knows is getting a 14-year sentence is something that is not even close to what somebody would get in this country. I was doing some fact-checking and research on various laws when it comes to misdemeanors and that kind of thing. And you'd have to have much more than half an ounce of especially medicinal marijuana to receive a misdemeanor. So 14 years, definitely not the right punishment at all for Marc. So we're looking forward to seeing him here soon. And we'll get to Carla Sands here. We can go to her live right now if she's ready to go. Carla, you know, today, first of all, your thoughts about this American hostage in a sense of being detained there in Russia, but now set free thanks to President Trump's negotiating skills.
It's so true. What a blessing to have President Trump in the White House leading with peace through strength and having his great emissary, Steve Witkoff. I mean, the team he has surrounded himself with is extraordinary. I'm so proud of America tonight. I'm so grateful to President Trump, and I'm so happy for Steve Witkoff, this hostage being held by Putin, now free on American soil, and a fellow Pennsylvanian. And I'm so happy for his family.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see President Trump working even for, and this is what's pretty awesome about this. This isn't for 300 people, which of course he's calling on the hostages to be released by Hamas by Saturday at 12 o'clock. But outside of that, within this Russian situation, it is one human being that he worked and got a negotiation, and look at what happened. I mean, doesn't that really tell President Trump's mind and heart when it comes to the American people?
It does. He loves the American people. I'm sure he had never met Marc Fogel before, but he cares about Americans being left behind. He's not going to leave Americans behind. Unlike Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they left Americans and fled in many, many places. Just thinking about Afghanistan for a minute. President Trump knows we don't leave Americans behind and we don't pay for hostages. And you can see his strong leadership. And I love that you told your viewers that he went to Indiana University of Pennsylvania. I attended Indiana University of Pennsylvania studying chemistry and biology, and it was a wonderful place in Western PA, not far from where my family fought in the American Revolution. So we have that in common. But I heard new Senator Dave McCormick also talking about the importance to the people of Pennsylvania and Marc Fogel's family. And so this is a great night for America. We should all be celebrating as a country in Pennsylvania, across the nation, and we should all be thanking President Trump. This would not be happening without his leadership.
Exactly, and this will be happening in about 6 minutes from now, where we're going to see this unity together with the family of Marc Fogel, but also President Trump. So it'll be great to hear what Marc has to say to the president and to hear what the president has to say as well. So it's going to be a great moment to cover here live, Carla. Let's also talk about something else that happened today. So it's at the Oval Office. We see Elon Musk there. He has his kid, X, their little X. And then at the end of it, you just kind of realize, man, this is really all about common sense, what DOGE is all about right now.
It's so true. I hope every one of your viewers watched that Oval Office presser with Elon Musk and Donald Trump. It was unprecedented. I think it'll go down in history as one of the greatest all-time, maybe the greatest press conference, because it was these two men talking about what's happening in the government, 100% transparency, and Elon Musk talking about some of the terrible things that they had found through their investigation through DOGE with his great young men, computer wizards, who are using AI to find basically the networks of all of these folks that are being paid by our tax dollars. The corruption is unbelievable. And I'm so pleased that he has this great team of people getting to the bottom of it, rooting out the corruption, making our government work better and leaner, and saving us our money.
Exactly. And if you're just joining us now, of course, this is Carla Sands, former ambassador to Denmark, also with the America First Policy Institute. Now, when I looked at the White House X post just a few minutes ago, or actually it was posted about an hour or so ago, it used a quote from Elon Musk. It said, "The people voted for major government reform," and in all caps it says, "and that is what the people are going to get." That per Elon Musk. And also, just to clear any kind of confusion about Elon and the White House, yes, he's part of the DOGE team there. He's doing great things. And the White House posting that, referring to Elon. Isn't that the truth? It's major government reform that we're seeing by President Trump and the team.
Yes, and there's no light between them. President Trump ran promising that he was going to get rid of the corruption. He talked about DOGE. How lucky are we to have Elon Musk, the world's richest man, but also one of the most brilliant men who knows how to get to the bottom of things and make them work better. Look at what he's created with SpaceX and Tesla, with the Boring Company and all of his other endeavors. This is a futuristic thinker, but he's also a practical, hands-on operator. We love that kind of man to get his hands on our government and say, we're just not going to do it the same old way anymore. Now, why are the Democrats screaming and squealing and threatening violence? I think it's because their friends and their kids are all on the dole, getting taxpayer dollars for some made-up job that doesn't help the American people. So while the people in, say, North Carolina or Hawaii or California are out there hanging, we've been sending hundreds of billions of dollars to other countries. And some of these countries, it was the woke stuff, like, the trans stuff and pushing on ideologies that they didn't want. And in other cases, it was to build up their society and pay their government workers, not our people. For instance, in Ukraine, we've been paying for their pensions and their government employees. That's not right. We're not part of Europe. Europe needs to pay for that. So I'm really very excited about what Elon Musk is doing and that he's willing to do it as a servant's heart. It's extraordinary, and these are wonderful, blessed times for our country.
Yeah, exactly, and led by that common sense that we're seeing throughout the President Trump administration. Also, in other headlines that we're following, the representative Anna Paulina Luna announcing the Federal Secrets Declassification Task Force earlier today. It will declassify government secrets. It will look at the JFK, RFK, MLK assassinations. It'll look at the 9/11 files. It'll look at documents about UFOs, the Epstein files, and also looking into COVID. I mean, you almost have to pinch yourself and be like, wait, is this a movie, or is this really happening for our country?
Well, so I want to just go back to one thing before I address that, and that is that these judges that are trying to stop President Trump's agenda and stop the DOGE effort, which President Trump won the popular vote, and he has a mandate from the American people. They want government to be cleaner. So he has that mandate. We need to make sure these judges are either the Supreme Court takes care of it or President Trump's lawyers, but this needs to be dealt with right away. And then to your point about transparency, when I was in the government, I saw how much was overclassified. There's a lot that's overclassified in the federal government. And I've been told that in some of the agencies that they're literally told to classify everything so that nothing can be traced from any of their communications. So there's a lot of work to do to lower the classification or declassify documents. And President Trump ran on promising he was going to make transparency on the JFK assassination, on the Epstein. I don't know about Epstein, but I know JFK assassination and also the RFK assassination. And there were other things that he promised to reveal to the American people. So now he's going to do it. And I'm excited to participate in that. I think that transparency is better. The American people, the American adults can handle the truth. And I think they'll appreciate being treated like adults for once.
Exactly. Carla Sands, thank you again for your insight, your analysis, your commentary, and for joining us at this later hour, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. Carla Sands, thank you again.
Thanks, Matthew.
So Carla Sands, of course, with the American First Policy Institute. I was thinking American Frontline Doctors because that's our next guest, John Strand, about to join us right now. So let's go to John as well, as we're waiting for this American that is freed from 14 years sentence in Russia. John, thanks so much for joining us on Right Side Broadcasting Network.
Absolutely, Matthew. Thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure.
Definitely. Your thoughts about this? I mean, he had, I think it was it was about 0.6 ounces, so a little bit more than a half an ounce of medicinal marijuana, gets caught in Russia. They give him 14 years for that. I don't even think that's a misdemeanor in this country. What are your thoughts?
I mean, my thoughts are with that American, and incredibly grateful that he's been returned. I think we're just recognizing, as people have been saying, the world healing, so to speak, with the emergence of the new Trump administration and a clear new attitude and outlook on reaffirming basic human rights and reaffirming classic American values, certainly in this country and for our citizens. But that's going to have a trickle-down effect for the rest of the world. I was actually just commenting about this with some friends at dinner the other night, about the manifest destiny that our founding fathers spoke of when they built this country. And that wasn't so much this idea that they were going to meddle in the affairs of other countries or around the world, but I think rather that they understood they had a duty and an opportunity to model the best possible form of governance that allows humans to have the inalienable rights God intended for them to have. And when America is faithful in protecting those rights and exercising a constitutional republic the way that we've been given, it advances freedom and human interests around the world. And I think that's what we're starting to see. So I'm certainly grateful that this gentleman's been brought back home, and just, really grateful and excited to see what the future brings in this new golden era.
And if you're just joining us now, of course, this is John Strand with American Frontline Doctors. Also a J6 political prisoner who is obviously, the charges have been dropped, nonviolent. He was there for 366 days, John. Man, you were telling me about the solitary confinement situation. I mean, I don't think that Marc Fogel had to deal with that, but can you just remind people of what it was to get through that process?
Yeah, I mean, certainly I'm no stranger to having my freedom taken away from me. Like I said, I'm really grateful to hear of this person being restored to freedom. And you mentioned that there was a technicality about marijuana. When I was in the prison system, unjustly, of course, due to the J6 lies, but nonetheless, I got to get a behind-the-scenes look at the American prison system and, justice system, so to speak. And to be frank with you, it's a travesty. So the vast majority of people that I interacted with while I was in the prison system were there either because of drug-related charges, or drugs had impacted their life and circumstances in other ways. But I hardly saw anyone in the prison system that wasn't affected by drug use or drug addiction or drug-related crimes in one way or another. So that's an issue we really need to take a hard look at. I think it's really a symptom of a deeper problem, a spiritual problem in our nation. But yeah, the prison system in America, and really everywhere, has a lot of problems, and it's an easy thing for people to ignore because they think, well, it doesn't affect me, it doesn't have anything to do with my life. But it can, and it's something that we need to be more thoughtful about and take a deep look at as we're reviewing a lot of problematic policies in our nation.
Yeah, speaking to that point there, when Elon Musk was in the Oval Office earlier today, giving an update to everyone when it comes to the media about DOGE, he also, the White House posts one of his comments. Elon Musk said the people voted for major government reform, and that is what the people are going to get. It's great to see that, isn't it?
Oh my goodness, yeah. And what's crazy, of course, is that the radical fringe elements in our country and in our political discourse in recent years and decades has been shrieking this ridiculous trope about threat to democracy and destroying democracy, and it's all upside down and backwards. It's so perverse. The leftist narrative, to be specific about where it's coming from, and unfortunately, the modern Democrat Party has embodied this, has embraced this radical Marxist leftism, and it's a total inversion of democracy. They parade it around as this camouflage. But what you're hearing a lot in the last few weeks related to DOGE and other things that President Trump and his administration are executing on exactly as they promised during the campaign and exactly as the American voters voted them to do. But you're hearing all these people say, oh, it's a constitutional crisis. Yeah, newsflash, the constitutional crisis for the Democrats is that we have a constitution and that we're actually going to return to constitutional governance. That's a crisis for them because they've been exposed now by DOGE as really government gangsters exploiting a constitutional republic, hijacking it into fascist mechanisms that they've used to wage political warfare. They've hid so much of this behind dark corners that DOGE is now bringing to, the best disinfectant is sunlight, as they say, and DOGE is our digital sunlight. So really excited to see the accountability and return to transparency that American citizens have always deserved and that we need to continue to demand. And yes, it's really encouraging to see what DOGE is doing, but like Elon Musk has mentioned, it requires the continued forceful support, participation, and efforts of the American people to continue demanding what we want and expect. As he said, that is democracy, when the people that we vote for actually represent our needs and interests and deliver on what we have voted them in to do.
Exactly, and that promises made, promises kept, the signature from the first administration. We're seeing that followed here in the second administration, and it's less than a month into this. Can you believe it?
It's hard to believe. My head is spinning, but that's okay. I like the action. I like the speed, and there's so much work to do. So we do need to be urgent and speedy about it. And I'm really glad to see the intensity, the organization, the discipline that we've observed from most elements of President Trump's administration so far. The battle is just beginning. Again, I want to really urge American citizens that can hear my voice to know this call is for you. This opportunity is your opportunity to reclaim your country. No one else can do the part that you have to play in that. And something we can all do is continue to be very vocal, connected, engaged, and supportive in demanding things that we know need to happen. For example, we need to demand that all of President Trump's nominees are confirmed. The Republicans control the Senate. This is an America First GOP movement that has taken over the presidency and Congress, and we need to use our power once we have won it through elections, use it appropriately, use it effectively. Don't waste this opportunity. And we, the people, pushing and applying our voice behind those elected officials can continue to advance the cause.
One more question for you. I just wanted to get your take, actually, on the Florida Representative Ana Paulina Luna announcing the Federal Secrets Declassification Task Force. Can you believe it?
It's exciting as well, but again, really grateful for Representative Ana Paulina Luna, proud of the work that she's done in Congress to this point. She is a firebrand to press on what's really important to the American people in terms of restoring accountability and constitutional governance in our government. And certainly transparency is a part of that. Our institutions, they're supposed to be venerated. We're supposed to respect them and safeguard them. And we cannot do that if we do not trust that they will work for us and that we can participate in the process in the democratic sense. So it's essential for us to have transparency and to reduce the amount of secrecy and certainly deception and propagandizing that our government is involved in. So declassifying some of these scandals and other related things that the American people have a right and a need to know about, as well as continuing to encourage the American people to remain engaged and to continue pursuing enlightenment and education, being educated with truthful information. Of course, thank goodness that we have X and alternative media to pursue that now in a free speech capacity, because legacy media has become so corrupted and untrustworthy, deservedly so. But that's a tragedy in and of itself. So these efforts to increase transparency and trust they could not be more important. And I'm really glad to see Congressman Ana Paulina Luna pursuing that effort.
Definitely. And to your point, transparency was what was discussed today in the Oval Office by Elon Musk, standing to the right of President Trump and just saying, this is what we're doing, this is what we're up to, and just revealing all of that corruption that's going on within the government. Now we know, obviously we knew the left-wing media lies to the American people and has lied for decades. But now we're seeing that it's more than the tip of the iceberg now. Now we're seeing a lot more of what's going on with all that corruption. John Strand, thank you again, American Frontline Doctors. We'll see you again soon here on RSBN Live.
Always a pleasure, Matthew. Thanks for having me on, and God bless the USA.
God bless the USA. Amen. 10:11, 11 minutes after the hour here, as we are awaiting this great moment at the White House, which, again, it comes down to family. I mean, this is what we are all about in our country, right? Faith, family, friends, right? Freedom. And it's going to be great to see family united tonight at the White House there. We're going to see the president as well say hello and greet Mark, and it's going to be an awesome moment. So glad to have you live with us. Let's start out again. I just want to, for those of you that are just joining us, to share with you the National Security Advisor, Mike Waltz's statement. So if we can go back to those slides from the beginning, and then we'll go to Elon over there at the Oval Office in just a minute. So you see that statement. Today, President Donald J. Trump and his special envoy, Steve Witkoff, are able to announce that Mr. Witkoff is leaving Russian airspace with Marc Fogel, an American who was detained by Russia. President Trump, Steve Witkoff, and the president's advisors negotiated an exchange that serves as a show of good faith from the Russians and a sign we're moving in the right direction to end the brutal and terrible war in Ukraine. Since President Trump's swearing in, of course, he has successfully secured the release of Americans detained around the world, and President Trump will continue until all Americans being held are returned to the United States. By tonight, which any minute now we'll see it, Marc Fogel will be on American soil and reunited with his family and loved ones, thanks to President Trump's leadership. Again, that from National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. So that was the announcement earlier, and then we saw here at the network that this would be an open press event for us to cover at the White House. So specifically, the diplomatic reception room at the White House is where this is all going to happen. As soon as we see that live feed, we'll go there and we're going to enjoy this moment together. You know, sometimes you need to have a good moment and good news, right? So we've been seeing a lot of good news with President Trump and the team. Looking forward to seeing people like Kash Patel as the director of the FBI and RFK Jr. sworn in as the Secretary of Health and Human Services. We already are seeing Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, actually training with some of the service members down along the southern border. And what a leadership role that is, to just be there and say, you know what, I've done this before too. This is the game plan from here. So we're seeing a lot of great things happen. DOGE is awesome. So I know a lot of Americans are saying, go DOGE, go. Go DOGE, go. Do it. Get it done. Show the world what we've been dealing with, and show the country how much corruption has been happening. And so President Trump the other day saying, he was saying it was unbelievable the amount of corruption that's happening in our country, but he is seeing it. The DOGE leadership is seeing it. Elon Musk and President Trump said earlier today at the Oval Office, if we could show some of that video, the president was saying that there are about 100 people now working with DOGE. And it's just awesome to see all of these great leaps and bounds of things happening. Of course, that was from earlier. If you've missed any of that, we have it on our Rumble page. So if you go to Rumble, maybe after the broadcast, after we see this great meeting with the president and American citizen Marc Fogel, you can watch that. It's about 32 minutes in its entirety. It's actually good. It's definitely something to watch. You really get a feel of where Elon's coming from. You hear how the president says a few things back and forth. It's great to watch that, just to be more informed on what DOGE is all about. And again, it's the Department of Government Efficiency. So we see that Elon there talking. So again, that's on our Rumble page, and you can check it out. It's also on X, I believe. So, and then shifting gears over to the representative, Anna Paulina Luna. That is also on our Rumble page as well. So you can watch all of this coverage from earlier today. If you missed any of it, it was either live on RSBN Live or we posted it a bit later. But at the end of the day, looking at America First News here at the network, everything inside the Beltway and outside the Beltway, whether it's breaking news, whether it's news like this. This was an awesome event that I saw earlier today, where the representative, again, announced a number of great policy issues here. A federal secrets declassification task force. It'll declassify government secrets when it comes to certain files. So that's going to be interesting to see that unravel. This here is the room I was speaking about earlier with the White House, where President Trump will be meeting in the diplomatic reception room at the White House. That is a gorgeous room. And if you've been watching RSBN Live, we have live feeds here at the network, of course, right to the White House. And you've seen everything from the East Room to the Brady press briefing room. You've seen the Roosevelt room. You've seen the Oval Office. And tonight, the diplomatic reception room. So it's a nice cozy tour of the White House, and especially a great cozy moment, to be straight up, in the sense of this American citizen who was facing 14 years in a Russian jail for being caught with about 0.6, or just slightly more than a half an ounce of medicinal marijuana. Whether you're for or against that, that's not what this discussion is about. This is about someone that was going to get 14 years in prison. And President Trump said, you know what, I've got negotiating skills. I can make this happen. And he made it happen. And this on the heels of his Secretary of Treasury, Scott Bessent, who is heading out there to Ukraine to discuss peaceful talks with the Vladimir Zelensky, the president, of course, of Ukraine, to hopefully get Russia and Ukraine war to just simply stop. How can it happen? Well, President Trump's working on it with his team. So a lot of great cabinet picks doing great work, but there's still more cabinet picks to be put into their positions to take care of business. Thank God for people like Pam Bondi. I mean, we've got the real deal happening right now on all levels, and it's great to see it. But it's taking a little bit of time, of course, as we are seeing more and more of what DOGE is up to and more of the president's executive orders. If you remember, he said it was going to be historic speed and strength. Well, that's exactly what Donald J. Trump, the 47th president, is up to. So it's great to see that, as it's about 10:17 Eastern time. Again, let's go over some of the information about Marc Fogel. So an American school teacher, he was arrested in August of 2021 by Russian authorities for trying to enter Russia with a little more than 1/2 ounce of medical marijuana prescribed by a doctor, according to reports, for severe spinal cord pain. And for that, in June of 2022, was sentenced to 14 years in a Russian prison. Fogle is from Pennsylvania, attended IUP, which is Indiana University of Pennsylvania, a great school there in PA. He has been a history teacher in various international schools. He lived and worked in Russia since 2012, teaching at the Anglo-American School of Moscow. Well, tonight, he is a free man. So we're seeing various people stand there and get the cameras ready, of course, for this meeting between Marc Fogel and President Trump. I believe the family of Mr. Fogle will be there as well. So it's just a great thing to see. Even though it's one American citizen, it's still great to see that happen for someone that definitely 14 years for that is maybe even a misdemeanor in this country. And I was reading some of the laws state by state, and it looked like it was you'd have to have a certain amount of medicinal marijuana and on. Not an expert in law, but I do as much research as I can. But at the end of the day, 14 years, definitely not the right punishment at all for Marc Fogel. Now a free man, and will be here. And it'll be great to see that moment here on RSBN Live tonight as it's 10:19. Also, programming note coming up, CPAC in Washington, D.C. RSBN's Robert McNeely, Christina Loren, Ashley Brassfield, all will be live at CPAC. So we've got a lot of coverage coming up, and that's on top of all the day-to-day coverage we have here, live every day of the week, pretty much, it seems. And of course, with any breaking news, you can follow us on Truth or X, and then also we'll be here at RSBN Live to share with you what we see going on across the country. If you've noticed, we've been covering a lot of different things outside of rallies, including the trip to North Carolina and Virginia, one for President Trump and one for J.D. Vance, the vice president. And then, of course, Mr. Vance in Ohio, at East Palestine, Ohio, the other day. We saw President Trump out in Los Angeles for the wildfire situation, and then onward to the rally. So a lot of coverage here at the network. So we're thanking you guys for being a part of this, because it's we the people together. It's common sense, and we're just reporting simply what we see. And also, you'll hear opinion and commentary, of course, but all based in common sense and the Constitution of the United States. We're not separate from you. We are with you, and looking forward to seeing this great occasion tonight, as it's 21 minutes after 10 o'clock. If you'd like to follow Right Side Broadcasting Network on Truth Social, it's at RSBN. You can also follow us on X at RSB Network. Speaking of X, again, if we could pull up that X post from the White House earlier today. I'll read it here as soon as we pull that up here, as we see the live picture of the White House. Speaking of the White House, the X post says, "The people voted for major government reform, and that is what the people are going to get." That a quote from Elon Musk. The White House reposting that as well. So this is pretty awesome to see that. And we spoke about that a lot here at the network leading up to the election. We saw that Elon Musk was putting that on the top of the X page, saying the people voted for major government reform. And to be honest with you, hearing about government reform, you think of maybe an international situation, Reform UK or Reformation. You don't really hear that in America, but we do now, because we saw how bad it got here, and it was going to get worse if we went to the left side of of the aisle and the leadership radical woke ideology that has failed in this country, that has really, let's be straight up, screwed over the American people. But now we see what's happening on the other side of the aisle, and it's common sense leadership. And we only see a few Democrat leaders out there screaming outside at these mini press conferences, and then some of the mainstream media covering them like they're big news, and there's really nobody out there even listening. It's just good to be on the side of conservative media. We're thankful and grateful for you guys to join us right here. Tomorrow, Robert McNeely will be here live in the morning for RSBN Live, and then as we have coverage throughout the day, I'll join him as we are covering wall to wall as much as we can for you, the American people, but also that's part of what we do, right? Media, journalists. I've been in the business for nearly 20 years now, and it's great to see something where it's pro-free speech and pro-Constitution, pro-MAGA. If we talked about any of this stuff before conservative media was really, really around, and he said that kind of stuff in a mainstream newsroom, you'd get a pink slip. So it's nice to be able to flap your wings, you know? So it's 10:23 Eastern time, again, February 11th. It's Tuesday. Can you believe that it's been less than a month since President Trump has taken office, and we have seen so many executive orders signed by President Trump. As John Strand said earlier, his head's spinning. It's the same thing. I mean, we are just covering everything we can, and sometimes it's in real time, which is great to see. All of those promises, if you guys remember, out there in the rallies, this is that same network, Right Side Broadcasting Network, the same grassroots people that love this country, love President Trump, but also, more importantly, love the truth, which it's great to see that our country and our president is all about that common sense leadership, the people's president. So yeah, we continue into the future here covering President Trump's second administration. Definitely looking forward to 2026 coverage as well, especially when it comes to primaries and voting and all that, when it comes to Congress and winning and keeping that edge in the Senate and the House. How about next summer as well, the 250th birthday for America? Quite a number of days until then. I know we're only in the second month of the year, so we have a lot of coverage coming up. Looking forward to seeing more world leaders show up at the White House. We've been covering every one of them since it started. The third leader just happening recently, of course, where the King of Jordan was in the Oval Office. Prior to that, the Prime Minister of Israel, of course, the first foreign leader to visit, and then the Prime Minister of Japan. So President Trump getting a lot of work done as we're seeing some activity there in the White House. Again, this is the diplomatic reception room at the White House. So we're going to see a pretty cool moment together as we're approaching the bottom of the hour. And we'll take you there live and just kind of let you feel like what it's like to be there. Instead of always talking, we'll be bringing you there in just a second as we see more people show up into that room there. To be honest with you, I've never seen a diplomatic reception room. It looks like a beautiful room there at the White House. So again, Marc Fogel, he was sentenced to 14 years in a Russian prison by President Trump and his team negotiating and getting an American freed. And we're going to see that unification tonight of being able to be united with his family and to greet President Trump. So it'd be quite awesome to see that moment unfold here on RSBN Live. Thank you again for tuning in and streaming in live. Also, again, if you missed any of Elon Musk and the leader of DOGE, of course, at the Oval Office earlier, we have the 32-minute in its entirety segment that you can watch on Rumble and anywhere you pretty much watch Right Side Broadcasting Network. So it's really a good idea to probably watch that if you missed it. So much information coming out of that meeting there. And then also the Representative Ana Paulina Luna out of Florida, her announcement with James Comer earlier. So out of Kentucky. So the announcement about this declassification task force. We also have that posted on our website and also on X and also on Rumble. So great to tune in and click on those links as we await President Trump there at the White House. It's the bottom of the hour. Why don't we go there live right now? Let's listen in, and we'll come right back.
desolate space.
Okay, it wasn't desolate like White Sox.
Talent. It's talent. You know everybody here, all superstars, speaker, has the easiest job in politics. Good. As a majority, right? Because all we know is it's a majority.
It's a majority. It counts.
He's doing a great job.
President, what Putin got in return
We'll tell you later.
today?
Very, very little. Very fair. Very fair. Extremely fair.
How important is this to bring?
This was not one of those $6 billion deals. This was not one of the deals. This was a very, very fair deal. Great. Established a very good relationship. We want to get that war ended. Stop people from getting killed, being decimated. Lose 1.5 million soldiers between the two of them. We got to get it ended. What's your time again? For a walk up?
Ready for you, sir?
If you guys want to come with me, come on up. Come on up. Feel free if you want to figure it out. This is gross. Thank you very much. So beautiful. Look at that. Be careful. Yeah. That would be it.
Mr. President, this American is coming home tomorrow.
You're good. He's good.
Somebody else very special. Very special.
What do you think of Russia for Fogle?
Very fair. Very, very fair.
Is it a Russian prisoner?
We're going to announce it tomorrow. Very fair. All right.
Mr. President, why didn't you not use the government plane to go pick up what we did?
Save the government money.
How much?
A lot. Save the government a lot of money.
Are you concerned about safety? If run down half the plane?
Very difficult to articulate
one of them. My lawyers snuck it.
I know. I asked him how they got it in there.
Yes,
They said they snuck it in.
And it is the president of Cuba, Squirrel Hill.
Hey, good to see you.
I had a Steeler hat on when I got off the plane. I don't know where it is, but it's great to meet you.
Your mom came to our house.
She told me that. And I just talked to Vicki, and I know she was there. And I'm a brother. Good to see you. You've been an absolute star for me and my family, and again, like I said, for me to articulate all this in this particular time after what I've been through, and it's not the 3.5 years, but the last 6 days, it's been like this weren't sure. They came and pulled me out. Mask on, I couldn't see where I was going, and they were moving me. There was a point, that they brought me my clothes. Let's go do that at the call. I'm not one bit of cold, I came from Russia. And you know what? Of the 10 letters, I got one from you as well. And I had that in a scrapbook I was keeping, and they took that scrapbook from me today, and I wanted that. Those scrapbooks back and that scrapbook. Your picture was in it, and as they were, giving me the shakedown, we're looking through it, and I have the picture of you and my mom. And you should have seen these guys. Well, their eyes lit up like, they're not like,
He's a happy guy. Everybody knows Mark. He's become a very famous guy. He's a very happy guy tonight. So it's just a real honor, an honor to have you at the White House.
I feel like the luckiest man on earth right now. And I want you to know that I am not a hero in this at all. And President Trump is a hero. These men that came from the diplomatic service are heroes. The senators and representatives that passed legislation in my honor to get me home are the heroes. I am in awe of what they all did. My family has been a force. I think my 95-year-old mother is probably the most dynamic 95-year-old on earth right now. And I am so indebted to so many people. I think I remember a Churchill quote that he said when the RAF was fighting the Luftwaffe, and he said that never have so many owed so much to so few. And I put myself, fortunately and unfortunately, into that category, and I said, never has one owed so much to so many, that this superorganism of people that came to my support and the love that I was given sustained me for 3.5 years in a prison that had me in hospitals for more than 100 days. I was given more than 400 injections in that time. And knowing I had the support of my fellow Pennsylvanians, my family, my friends, it was so overwhelming that it brought me to my knees and it brought me to tears. But it was my energy, it was my being that kept me going that whole time, and I will forever be indebted to President Trump, to Steve over there. What a dynamic man this guy is.
That's true.
When I met him, the energy, the can-do attitude just exudes from his body. And when he smiled at me and introduced me and I got the feel for what has happened, you know, it's not just me, it's everybody. And Secretary Rubio, who met my son a while back, I'm a middle-class school teacher who's now in a dream world.
We're going to show you the Lincoln bedroom in a little while. It's a very special place. Appropriate for tonight, I think. Very appropriate.
And thank you all. And I love our country. And I'm so happy to be back here. And I wish I could articulate it better.
You've done beautifully, and he's got a great mother. And when I saw the mother at a rally, she said, if you win, will you get my son out? And I promised. She's 95 years old. And I said, we'll get him out. And we got him out pretty quickly.
She told me that exact words.
I remember.
And,
She made quite an impression.
And you also did.
Yeah.
And I'm in awe of what you've done. And your team.
It's great to have you back.
Oh,
Gonna have a great life. Yes.
President, did you speak directly to President Putin about?
Well, I don't want to say that. I just want to say that I appreciate very much what they did in letting Mark go home, and I appreciate Steve Witkoff, the job he did, and Marco behind the scenes was unbelievable. And so many of these people were unbelievable. They represent him. They're from his area. And we just wanted to get him back home. I had to get him back home because I would have had big trouble with his mother. And we're going to take him for a little tour of the Lincoln bedroom, which nobody gets to see, and it's very special. Do you want to see it?
I would love to. And I also should make mention that President Putin was very generous and statesmanlike in granting me a pardon. I mean...
What were the terms of this deal, Mr. President?
Very fair, very, very fair, very reasonable. Not like deals you've seen over the years. They were very fair. And I think that's going to lead. And somebody else is being released tomorrow that you will know of. But we wanted to get this done, very important. And Steve wanted to actually fly over and get Mark and get him home properly, because it could be a pretty tough trip.
So is this the beginning of a deal, sir? Is this the start of?
I think there's goodwill in terms of the war. You know, 1.5 million soldiers, young people have been killed.
I've met many of them.
Yeah, and it's a terrible thing going on. So we want to get that done. I think this could be the very important element. You could be a big part of it, actually, because it could be a big, important part of getting the war over with Ukraine. And we appreciate President Putin's what he did. He was able to pull it off for you, right? He was able to pull it off. We think, and you're here, and you're here, so it was great. We'll tell you a little bit more about it tomorrow, but I think we've made great progress on the war also. Getting the war, I want to get the war ended. That war should not have been. It would have never happened if I was president. It would not have happened. And it did happen. And now you have all blown up cities and dead people. So many dead people. Should have never, ever happened. And you could be a big catalyst for just this evening. It's a very important evening for ending that war. And I think they all want to see it ended.
Does that mean you gave assurances about Ukraine?
How does it change your perspective on Putin and your attitude?
Well, I don't want to get into that. I only can say this. We got a man home whose mother and family wanted him desperately, whose state wanted him. He's become a big symbol. And it's an honor to have played a small role in that. And I want to tell you, these people, they all played a role. And we got him home, and he's healthy. It looks good, actually. To me, you look damn good, I'll tell you that.
I think when expectations are low,
Yeah.
maybe that helps a little bit.
When you go kaplunk, right?
Can you tell us about the conditions in the prison that you were in, sir?
I think I need a little bit of time to sort of digest all of that. There were times when it was extremely trying. There were times when I could manage it, but I think I need some more time to, process it.
It wasn't easy, right? It wasn't easy.
Every second, every minute, every day had a challenge.
But you're in good shape. I mean, compare that to what we saw 2 days ago come home. They were very, very ill. Those people are very ill. They were treated really badly.
Mr. President, your predecessor left you almost $4 billion in unused aid for Ukraine. Are you going to use those money? Are you going to
We're going to
send
see, but my
weapons to
predecessor
Ukraine?
should have had this gentleman out a long time ago. We did it in 2.5 weeks. He had 4 years to do it. He should have had Mark out a lot earlier. It's a shame. It's a shame.
It was very...
Should have never had the war to start off with. Should have never had, that war would have never happened if I was president. But he should have had him back 3.5 years ago. So it was too bad, but he didn't do it. But we did it. Thank you all very much. Thank you very much. Come on.
Mr. President, are reciprocal tariffs still coming tomorrow, or are you waiting until you meet with those?
We'll see what happens.
Have you spoken with President Xi?
What an absolutely amazing moment at the White House tonight, unfolding before our eyes, starting out outside of the White House where you saw the snow as the backdrop there, and that first greeting between President Trump and Marc Fogel. What an awesome moment that was, and what an eloquent speaker as well, going through so much in Russia, being in jail for 3 years, sentenced to 14. But of course, President Trump, through the negotiation skills, and also with Steve Witkoff, the special envoy, and of course also the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, all working together to get this done. This awesome moment that just unfolded before our eyes live right now at 10:46 Eastern Time. Marc Fogel calling President Trump a hero for what he has done, calling Special Envoy Steve Witkoff a dynamic man, and also thanking the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, for his efforts. It was interesting to hear Mark say, quote, "I love our country and I'm so happy to be back here." Marc Fogel back in the United States as a free man. Quite awesome coverage right here on RSBN Live. So glad you joined us. For all of us here at Right Side Broadcasting Network, I'm Matthew Alvarez. We'll see you tomorrow. Robert McNeely will be here in studio. I'll join him a bit later in the day. But for all of us at Right Side, thanks so much for watching. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.
Parents, do your kids know what courage really means? It's about standing up for America even when there's a target on your back. That's why Mike Huckabee's team created the Kids Guide to the Courage of the President. This important guide tells kids everything they need to know about President Trump's unwavering courage, and you can get it for free. With your free order, you'll receive free bonus gifts, including the Kids Guide to President Trump and a Christmas ornament commemorating Trump's call for us to fight. Get it all for free at freetrumpbook.com. That's freetrumpbook.com.
Hey y'all, it's Silk from the Diamond and Silk Chit Chat Live Show. Look, don't forget to check me out right here on RSBN Network. Be sure to watch the show on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. Yes, it's imperative that you do so, okay? I look to see y'all soon. Bye-bye.
Families across the nation have arrived at a heartbreaking crossroad to surrender their beloved animals at alarming rates due to inflation and soaring costs of living.
There are so many overcrowded shelters. So many dogs need a home, but it's all of us working together to solve this crisis.
This fight requires both doers and dollars. Join us at Big Dog Ranch Rescue. Please sign up today.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 6-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed because right now, every order ships absolutely free.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.